Jim, what did you think about Once Upon a Time in the West?
One word. Fantastic. Pretty much like I said at the beginning, it is this epic Western. And
It's more than one word, but go ahead.
it does feel a little long by the end of it, but it doesn't matter with this movie because it's just all so amazing to watch unfold. You have this storyline that you rightly explained that is kind of shared between four people but then comes together near the end. It's just so interesting to watch unfold in front of you on the screen, and then everything on the screen is just so beautiful to look at. Whether it's dirty cowboys in like a dirty saloon, or whether it's like these beautiful, glorious shots of Monument Valley. It's just all so just fantastic. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's just all fantastic. All the acting, in my opinion, is on point. I don't think there's a bad actor in the movie.
The four leads are all fantastic.
I was going to say there's only one kind of bad bit of dubbing that I noticed, and that was at the very beginning with the old station master there.
You know what? I wanted to bring him up too, specifically for the dubbing, because I'm pretty sure he's dubbed by the same guy that was like the old coffin maker guy in A Fistful of Dollars, because it's just kind of a goofy, funny voice. But I can't confirm that, but that's my suspicion.
Yeah, I mean,
but that guy he's the worst dubbed in A Fistful of Dollars, so maybe maybe the dub actor not that great, or in the case of A Fistful of Dollars, I think it was an issue of the actor being a little too animated on on screen, whereas that's hard to match with the dubbing. I don't think that was really the case here.
Yeah, and then even the kid actors, they were fine for the amount of screen time that they had. There were just so many interesting things to look at in the movie as well.
Mainly Claudia Cardinale, but yeah.
Well, exactly, yeah. But and it kind of helped you forget that the movie was 2 hours and 45 minutes. There were a few slow parts.
By the way, Claudia Cardinale also in the original Pink Panther movie. I just remembered that.
Oh, really?
So she's probably dubbed in that too, but maybe I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen that. I like the Pink Panther movies, and I don't like the original. I think it's a boring as hell movie. A Shot in the Dark, amazing. Pink Panther Strikes Again, The Return of the Pink Panther, all that stuff's great. I just did not care all that much for the original Clouseau mystery adventure.
Hot take. You heard it here first, folks.
I don't know if A Shot in the Dark is everybody's favorite, so I don't know about that.
I don't really have any complaints about this movie. Not even the runtime, really. It was just.
But you keep mentioning it like it's.
I do, but it's not even really a complaint because, like, for me, it doesn't detract from the movie. It was just my ass started to hurt a little bit. I was like Batman, like the new Batman movie, fucking long as hell.
But it doesn't mean I'm going to see it. So,
well, exactly. Anyways, what about you, Patrick? What do you think?
I've thought about this a lot. I mean, first of all, obviously, I love it. I love this movie. The Western, I love the genre. I love the spaghetti Western in particular. This is clearly among the best. Mm-hmm. So basically for 25 years now, give or take, I think there was probably a good 6 months to a year in which Jaws was my favorite movie. But basically for 25 years, Jurassic Park has been my favorite movie. And I'll admit that used to be a secure number one, and over recent years, it's been threatened by two movies in particular. It's been threatened by The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, Once Upon a Time in the West, because it's comparable to those two movies in particular for one not superficial and then one superficial reason. It's obviously the same director as The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Can I really say The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is better than this? Confidently, no, I don't think I can. I think they're about the same, and I think it might depend on my mood, which I prefer. This is certainly a more somber film, less fun, but still has a lot of the same qualities, and it's a slightly better score, I would even say. But anyways, and then the other one is 2001: Space Odyssey came out in 1968, just as this did. Can I really say that 2001: Space Odyssey is my favorite film from 1968? I'm not sure I can anymore. It's definitely one of those two movies. It's not going to be Planet of the Apes or Rosemary's Baby or, just to name a few other movies that came out in 68. What else? What's that? Target's classic film from 1968. Big inspiration for this podcast, even though you probably don't know what that is.
No clue.
This might be my favorite movie. It's very close to it if it's not. It's certainly that, like I said, that I used to have a definitive number one. Now it's 1 through 4 are essentially ties. And yeah, this is a great claim to it. And the reasons for that being, I love the way the story unfolds, how it starts kind of independently with these different stories, which we don't even always know right off the bat, but we kind of, as we learn about them, and then eventually they all get merged. And they get merged in a compelling way. Of course, there's the filmmaking, which Sergio Leone, among my favorite film. I've always said Alfred Hitchcock's my favorite director. You know, part of that's I've seen dozens of films by him. I've only seen 6 movies from Sergio Leone. I think he only directed 7, but like pound for pound, his movies are as good as anybody's. So I love the filmmaking. He has the great intense close-ups, which it helps that he's got very good actors, but those close-ups can communicate so much, especially with Bronson in this movie.
Yeah.
And then he's got those beautiful wide shots too, obviously, of the landscape and everything, which
cinematic would be a way to describe pretty much.
Sure, yeah,
every
beautiful,
shot.
Cinematic, breathtaking, and the score is really a big thing too. I do think probably the best, not just the best score from Ennio Morricone, but I would say the best score in a movie I've seen. You know, there's a few maybe that I'd compare. You know, Vertigo, excellent score, but I think this is probably the best score I've ever heard. The song, the track, Man with the Harmonica, is just like my favorite thing ever. Basically, just go listen to it. Check it out on YouTube, Spotify, whatever. I adore this film. I
wouldn't remove any scenes, but if I could change a scene around, it would be the Frank and Jill love scene sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it doesn't really...
You're just saying you wanted to see more of Claudia
well, that would be nice, too, to
I
be
would
honest.
want to make the scene 20 minutes long and much more graphic with the nudity.
Yeah, I mean...
Is that where we're headed? Is that what we're talking about here?
I'd be okay
with
that.
No, explain.
No, I just mean, like, because, again, it didn't really work for me in the sense that it didn't really... like, it was confusing to watch almost because it was... The two of them were talking, like, this was something that they were both enjoying, or like I don't know if the acting was off, or I don't know, it was just a weird scene that kind of like emotionally confused me, if that makes sense.
I understand that. I think they could have done something, and I mean this is hard to do because Frank has already murdered a child, but like you could have a scene like this where you really emphasize Frank as a monster, except in the moment Frank, I do think we were kind of talking about what the scene means for Jill as a character and how Jill isn't really into it, but the performance or the way it's shot, maybe that's not the most clear. I think really the focus should probably be more on Frank. I think the whole point is Frank doesn't see what he's doing is wrong, and I think you could maybe do something with that with this character that maybe the film doesn't really do. But I don't know. I understand what you mean.
Going back to the characters for a second, this movie has really interesting characters because you have this kind of, I don't want to call him an evil industrialist, but...
Morton?
Yeah. You have this man
He's a corrupt dude.
He's corrupt. He's driven by greed. He's also driven by some kind of strange want to see the Pacific.
Yeah, he's got the focus on the water, which is why it's key that he dies right outside a puddle, because he looks at that painting, and then you even hear the crashing of the waves when he looks at the painting, and then you have that same sound when he's approaching the puddle.
Yeah, and then you have Frank, who is just evil outlaw, but who wants to kind of enter this business, this realm of business, and you have Morton kind of trying to teach him how to use money to
also,
get what you
Morton's
want
got tuberculosis, by the way. I looked
okay.
it up. I knew he had something. I knew it was. What did you thought he just had like
shot in the spine? Yeah.
Yeah. No. It was like something. It was osteoporosis, tuberculosis. It was some osis.
Yeah, one of the oses.
Osmosis Jones. He's got Chris Rock inside him. That would make anyone have to use crutches.
But no, and then you have Jill, this strong female character. Probably one of the strongest we've seen doing this podcast, to be honest, really.
Yes, and that's where, like, for the most part, that's a reflection on just kind of the movies we've picked. It's like, I mean, we picked them at random, but like, okay, horror movies, yeah, they give you a strong female character, but the strong female character is usually just survivor. There's...
Yeah.
Good movies can do a lot more with that. But for the most part, it's just like, okay, but like this character, there's a lot going on with this character. If I were to say this is a better movie than The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or that I enjoy it more, I think I would probably center it mostly on the dynamics that come from having a character like her. because we do not have the equivalent of that character in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I don't just mean like from a female character, but just the character itself, because I think the main three gunfighters, outlaw types are all comparable to the main three in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You just have this fourth character thrown in there that really, it kind of brings out both the best and worst in other characters, which is just kind of interesting. Yeah, she's wonderful.
But yeah, and as you said, if you haven't seen this movie, you need to watch it. It's fantastic.
It's a bit of a slow watch, but it's a very rewarding one. It's a very entertaining movie. Incredible soundtrack, incredible cinematography, great performances. Yeah, it's the whole package.